local government guy on this panel. I'm quite humbled to be sitting with some very big-time people on this panel. I can tell you that we in Nassau County government, one of the best things that ever happened to us personally was Hurricane Irene. One of the worst things that ever happened, to happen to the public was Hurricane Irene. It let us test out all of our plans. It let us test our equipment. And it let us make sure that when we run through our 120-hour timeline, we have a timeline that starts 5 days out with 0 hour being when the storm hits. So we knew what was going to happen. Certain things happen in each hour, whether it be evacuations or setting up shelters or moving equipment. So Irene was great for us in that way, because if you think about it, prior to that, the last hurricane to really hit Nassau County was Gloria in 1985. So that was quite a few years in between. However, the problem was, luckily Irene kind of fell apart before it hit Long Island. So our residents, we didn't really feel the brunt of it, which is a good thing. The problem is when we then told people that Sandy was coming, so many people thought it was Irene. We got thousands of calls into our emergency operations center in Bethpage, and everybody thought it was going to be Irene ×2, and we were trying to say, no, it's not. No, it's not. So we learned quite a few lessons. Emergency management, we're the coordinating agency. I'm not a first responder, but we help get the first responders what they need. We're the planners in Nassau County. So we learned a lot of lessons from Sandy, and I can tell you confidently we are in much better shape today than we were 4 years ago when Sandy hit. And I can, of course, I'm looking forward to the questions, but I can definitely tell you some of the things. Some of them, we now do a lot more preparedness seminars at the invitations of civic groups, the Boy Scouts, Hadassah, the local legislators. Basically, anybody who wants to invite me somewhere, I come with a very nice PowerPoint that's about 45 minutes. If you want to give me some coffee and cookies, I'm definitely there. I will clear my calendar for that. But the whole idea is putting us in front of as many people as possible, talking about preparedness. We're working with the VOAD, that's the Volunteer Organizations Active in Disasters. We're working, we have contracts now that we didn't have 4 years ago. Basically, if somebody calls and, our offices, and they need some kind of language services, we have translators that can translate 170 different languages. So it's going to be very difficult not to have a language that we can translate, so that way we can reach out to them. In terms of pets, because I know that nobody really discussed pets, but we did a little bit in the video. That's something we learned from Katrina, how people didn't want to leave because they saw that they had no place to go with their animals. So in the past, with Irene, we set up a pet shelter with the SPCA, NOAA's Wish, North Shore Animal League, and essentially what they were going to do is you had veterinarians and people who were trained on staff, so you would drop off your pet. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't like that and refused to really do that, so we as Nassau County are now doing our own shelter where you can bring your pets, because the shelters in Nassau County are the American Red Crosses. And they don't allow pets in their shelters, other than service animals, of course. Unlike New York City, we don't do the zone mentality. You're in zone 1, 2, or 3. What I can tell you on the South Shore, it's the simplest thing. If you're south of Sunrise Highway, you are in an evacuation zone because it's very flat. The North Shore gets a little sketchier, but if you're on the South Shore, anywhere south of Sunrise. And when we do the voluntary evacuations, we recommend them usually about 48 hours prior to the storm so people can get their things, get them together, and leave before we have to declare a mandatory evacuation. So that in the video that they said voluntary, maybe we might want to use different terminology going forward, but that's certainly something that we do. And we make our decisions, or the county executive makes the decision based on information that we get from the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service. We actually had a meteorologist from the Weather Service stationed with us in our emergency operation. Ashley Sears was with us. And it was very, that information that we're getting is very localized, because if you ever watch Channel 7, they're talking about Manhattan, Staten Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, while on a regional picture that's certainly important. On a local level, it's much less important, because what affects us here, I want to know what's going to affect Long Beach, Island Park, Massapequa, Bayville, Glen Cove, Port Washington, and that's not a picture I'm going to see on Channel 7. So I certainly don't want to go on talking too much, but I want you guys to all to rest assured that from at least the local level, we have made excellent strides. We've got a lot of new equipment, new technologies we're going to be unveiling in a few weeks. All your phones have an FM chip in them, and it's going to be a new way for us to be able to broadcast messages of evacuations or danger. And I'm not the tech guy in the office, so I couldn't give you all the specs, but we're crossing the T's, dotting the I's on that. But we should have further ways of doing this. I mean, we have a new mass notification system where we can send out text messages, emails, in addition to the robocalls that you would get from the county executive. And I know on a language level, and you should be happy about this one, we are now reaching out to multiple languages, the press secretary, press office of the county executive, so that they will be able to cover his press conferences, and if maybe be able to subtitle it or something like that. So that's something that we are definitely working on with the press office, so that if somebody who is not an English speaker is watching one of their native language channels, I mean, I know we have some Spanish channels, and I know there are some Chinese channels, I know there's a bunch, they will at least get that message in their language, because reporters from those stations will be invited to the county executive's press conferences. So hopefully they're getting the information at the same time that we're doing it, because we in Nassau County want to be able to speak with one voice so that all residents will hear our message.
Let me stop you there.